how suddenly it strikes. Mortal danger descends almost in the blink of an eye and without warning. It is terrifying. In an instant, there is chaos. Then, from the vastness of the sea, there is a threat more menacing still. A wall of water more than 20 feet high advances across the ocean at speeds of up to 500 miles an hour, the speed of a jet aircraft. Japan's tsunami defenses are among the best in the world, but the tsunami is immovable, unstoppable, overwhelming everything in its destructive progress. It reduces a house to matchwood in seconds. A car disappears into the deluge with its rear windscreen wiper still on. The quake struck at 2:46 local time in the middle of a normal working day. Imagine being in this office in Sendai when this happens. For a moment they freeze, immobilized by panic. Then a frantic scramble for shelter. And the quake goes on and on and on. For hundreds of miles around, office blocks, shopping centres and homes were shaken from their foundations up, spreading terror.
When it really started to get quite seriously shaking, at that point I just thought, I could possibly die now. This is, I don't know if I can get down the stairs in time to reach the bottom floor. And then they also had my wife screaming down my ear because she was working in one of the buildings in Tokyo.
Japanese people are taught from an early age that earthquakes are part of life, and from an early age, the training kicks in at the vital moment. But more destructive still was the awesome power unleashed in the depths of the ocean, the tsunami. Each cubic meter of water weighs a ton. Its momentum sweeps away and smashes almost anything in its path. As it advances inland, it becomes a vast, silty churn. These are agricultural polytunnels being swallowed up. There are cars, shipping containers, parts of buildings in the swirl. No one knows how many homes have been damaged or destroyed, but it is certainly many thousands. Not everyone got away on time. The tremors from the biggest earthquake Japan has ever recorded were felt in the country's parliament in Tokyo. The Prime Minister spoke to the nation almost immediately.
It was a very strong earthquake, and in the Tohoku region, mainly and over a wide area, damage has been inflicted. I offer my deepest sympathy to the people who have suffered the disaster.
Damage to Japan's infrastructure gives yet more cause for concern. East of Tokyo, this oil refinery caught fire and blazed out of control, threatening to spread to residential suburbs nearby. Thousands of local people had to be moved out of their homes. And what has happened to the country's nuclear industry? 4 of Japan's 11 nuclear reactors were shut down automatically. The US Navy delivered coolants to one nuclear plant 150 miles north of Tokyo to prevent overheating. Tonight, the government warned that to reduce pressure in the plant, a small amount of radioactive vapor would have to be released, but insisted there was no risk to the public. Japan's transport infrastructure has, in places, been devastated, main roads ripped up, railway lines engulfed. At Sendai Airport, the tsunami crept up the runway to the very boarding gates of the terminal. Passengers took refuge on the roof. In Tokyo, people crowded into bus stations for buses that were going nowhere. The BBC's Tokyo correspondent Roland Burke witnessed the frustration of stranded passengers.
Just look at this, a huge line stretching down into the distance, people waiting to catch a bus. There are thousands of people, millions of people on the streets of Tokyo tonight. All trains have been suspended. The official advice, if you're safe, is to stay where you are. But after the shock of this afternoon's earthquake, many people just want to get home.
Dawn has already broken in Japan. Overnight there was another large quake in the north. The country awakes now to try to assess the immense damage that 2.5 minutes of geotectonic movement 80 miles out to sea can inflict. Alan Little, BBC News.